Why in the world would Christians end up celebrating a holiday that's about fertility, sex, mating, war, and the vernal equinox? How in the world does this happen? Like, how? I'm going to tell you why. First, you have to understand that we're talking about the time of the Romans who began to figure out it was a lot easier to convert people to Christianity because it would make a lot more money and it would provide them with a lot more food and gifts. You say, how can that be? Well, if you are running the country, or in their mind, they ran the world, and you're only collecting taxes, well, you're only going to see everybody once every whatever months or once a year, whatever their cycle for collecting taxes was. But if you add Christianity and add a mandatory tithe in there and offerings in there, all of a sudden you gain superior wealth because now you've got the taxes, which are not going away. Matter of fact, they're going to go up. And then you have the Christianity, which is going to bring money and donations. Okay. And then you have the offering days where people are going to come and they're going to bring their sacrifices. So they're going to bring their first their first crops, their freshest and best crop, right? They're going to bring their deer, or not deer, but they're going to bring their calves and their lambs, and they're going to have those already prepared. They're going to cut the throat, drain the blood, blah blah blah. What do you think was going to happen with all those crops and all that meat? Did you think they were just going to throw it in the garbage can? No. Anyone who travels to Egypt with me already knows this. They'll tell you when you get there that the lines were down the street and around the corner to bring these offerings, to get these blessings. You were bringing food to these people because they weren't going to go hunting and they weren't going to go farming. So they have storehouses built into some of these ancient temples that I take people to. Storehouses to store what? Store all the offerings so they can eat it. It was a shopping list. It was a shopping list. That's what they're doing. They're shopping. So when you incorporate, when you say, you know what, man, let's convert this Christianity. Let's get these people on Christianity because now we can make four times the amount of money when you add up the cost of the food and the crops and the tithes and the donations and the gifts plus the taxes. It's a win-win for us. Institute this immediately. So now you have the process where they start blending the pagan rituals with Christianity. This is done by the Romans. And I'm going to read it directly from the source for you, from the encyclopedia. The blending of pagan rituals with Christianity by the Romans was a process known as syncretism. Okay, Syncretism, syncretism. It was a pragmatic and strategic approach that facilitated the transition from paganism into Christianity across the entire Roman Empire. This synthesis was not just haphazard, it wasn't just a rare occurrence, it was a deliberate strategy influenced by several key factors. Hmm. First, cultural continuity. Integrating their familiar pagan rituals and festivals into Christian practices helped ease the conversion process for pagans. I don't think these Christians know that they're celebrating pagan holidays. I think if you told them, they'd curse you and tell you you're going to burn in hell or something anyway. By allowing new converts to retain certain aspects of their traditional religious practices, the Christian faith became more accessible and more acceptable. So they eased them in. They massaged them right on in. They just they just massaged them right on in. Come over here. Let me give you this massage. Let me give you a nice massage, the sweetest massage. Let me loosen your shoulders up, loosen your neck up, get you right on in here. Next thing you know, you think you're worshiping the Lord and God and everything else. You just fell right back into the same old stuff that you were supposed to get away from. You're right back in it again. No change, no evolution. Same old thing. You've been deceived again. You've allowed yourself to become deceived. and got right back into the same old system. And now the religious beast is collecting even more wealth off the sweat of your brow. It was funny. I was in Egypt one day, and I think this was in 2020 or 2014, one of those times. And there's this altar inside of one of these temples. And the guy was telling me, Muhammad was telling me about the fact that the people would line up and they would be bringing anything they could bring of any value, food, money, gold, whatever they could bring, and just hope that the temple priest would give them a blessing because their son was sick. And he'd be like, "Oh yeah, the son, your son will be blessed. He'll be okay. He'll be fine." And then they come with these offerings. I mean, it's just, it's a scam. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It got pimped, mind pimped. And then, of course, let's look at more of the strategy why they would do this political strategy. Unification of the empire. The Roman Empire was a vast and culturally diverse empire. The adoption of Christianity as a state religion under the Emperor Constantine in the 4th century was partly a political move to unify the empire under a single religion. Instead of having two religions, instead of having paganism and Christianity and people battling and fighting each other, and we only collecting the taxes, hey guys, let's unify this. There's way more money in the paganism, so in the Christianity than the paganism, so let's unify. Let's get the Christians in here. We can make a lot of holidays. We can add holidays to our own existing holidays. We can collect more money. We can collect more wealth, and the people will be working together more, be more calm. Okay, so we'll just weave this whole thing together. So political situation, they got politics, politricks is what I call it. Synchronization of pagan practices within Christianity helps smooth the transition by creating a sense of continuity and inclusivity. People want to feel like they're a part of something. So instead of ostracizing them and keeping them on the outside, let's bring them in and make them feel like they're part of something big and take their money. Of course. Let's look at practical considerations. Seasonal and agricultural celebrations. Many pagan festivals were closely tied to the agricultural calendar and the changing of the seasons. Christianity's adoption of these times for its own celebrations is well known, and it made the new religion more relatable to the common people for whom these cycles were crucial. These people didn't want to let go of their old traditions, and so they're thinking like, why would I want to go into Christianity when I can just keep my old traditions? So Constantine said, you know what? Keep your traditions. It's all good. We're going to make it part of the religion. Matter of fact, we'll write it in. It'll be a part of the scripture now. How do you think this stuff happens? Do you think it originally was like that? No, it's been added. It's remixed. You're talking about remixed text to get the people comfortable, to get them to go along with the whole shebang. And they did. And then, of course, theological flexibility. Okay. This practice involved the reinterpretation of pagan gods. Let me say that again. The reinterpretation. What does that mean? It means remix. Remix. The reinterpretation of pagan gods, heroes, and rituals within Christian framework. So what they're saying is we're going to take all of our multiple gods and collapse them into only one God to make them feel so comfortable. And we'll add our text to their text. We'll work it in. We'll take the S off. So it won't be gods. It'll be God singular. No gods plural, God singular. But we'll still work and weave our own traditions into this text so that the people we're converting can feel more comfortable joining it.
By Compendium of the Emerald Tablets by Billy Carson.